Is it recording? Yeah. Okay. So welcome to your 1:30 p.m. Knowledge with Laura hour. 2 hours, 3. So I'm Laura, and I'll be talking to you about the Vayus today. So the first 40 minutes, I'll be talking about the Vayus, and we'll go on from there. So first things first, and I'm going to make it a bit interactive, so you can unmute yourselves when you want to speak. So today I'll be looking at prana and Vayus. So focusing on the Vayus, but first it's important to know what prana is. Does anyone have a description of prana? What is prana?
Our vital life force.
Yes.
Energy.
Amazing.
In the body.
Exactly. So prana is energy, vitality, power. Prana is the foundation and essence of all life. It's the energy and vitality that permeates the entire universe. Prana flows in everything that exists. Yeah? We agree?
Yeah.
Cool. So a little more definition. So prana means primary energy or life force in Sanskrit. It resides in all beings on earth, in the sky, and beyond. So this vital life force has different levels, from the physical breath to the energy of consciousness itself. As we understand this, is the original creative power, that the universe is prana, and that we are all made up of prana, and that this life force lives through us, and the importance of how to control this energy becomes apparent. Yes? Okay. So on different levels, prana has different aspects. On a cosmic level, so the biggest level, it has unmanifest and manifest. Manifest prana is the force of creation itself, through which the universe comes into being. And then there's the manifest prana. This manifest prana derives from the unmanifest prana, which is the higher self, the energy of consciousness itself. So that's on a cosmic level. And then if we come down to nature, so everything that's in the earth or in the sky is also composed of prana and the 3 gunas, the sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic. Yeah, so that's all prana. And then on a physical level, prana is the alteration of the air element. So deriving from the oxygen we breathe. So simply put, it's our breath. On a subtle level, the air element becomes the sense of touch. Through touch, we feel connected to others, and we have the sensation of being alive. So without prana, we would just be a lifeless blob. So in the yoga tradition, the yoga tradition describes 5 movements, actually 10 main movements of the functioning of prana. So the 5 that we have seen before are the 5 Vayus, and then there are also another 5, but we won't go into detail about them today. So there are 10 main movements or functions of prana. Okay, so that's the connection between prana and the Vayus. So prana works through the Vayus. Yes? Okay. Cool. Cool. So the 5 Vayus are prana, apana, Udana, Vyana, and Samana. And then there's the 5 Upa pranas, Naga, Kurma, Divatata, Krikala, and Dhananjaya. Sorry about that pronunciation. Okay, so the 5 main functions of prana that we will look at today, as I have just said, are the following on the slides. So Vayus is a Sanskrit word for wind, and each of these Vayus of prana have subtle differences. So they differ in the function and the direction of flow in the body. Through the focusing on each of these Vayus in our practice, this deeper awareness enriches the quality of our breath, movement, and sense of body, mind, spirit connectedness. So the characteristics of the Vayus are they're in different locations in the body. They have a different force or action, and they have a different function. So the location will be on the physical body and subtle activities. The force and action, the direction of prana. And then the function, they have different purposes. Yeah? Okay. So here's quite a cool diagram, I thought, of the Vayus. So there's prana. So there's prana. So remember that there's prana, the big prana, and then there's also prana vayu. So those are different. There's prana vayu, which governs the chest and the head, as you can see up here, and it governs the intake, inspiration, propulsion, forward momentum. Okay. And then we have the udana, which is located in the throat, and it governs growth, speech, expression. It has an upward movement. It's ascending. So that's the direction of that one. Then we have the Vyana, and that's basically in the whole body. It's not just in one location. It governs the whole body, location-wise, and it governs circulation on all levels, expansiveness. Yeah, and it's expanding. Expansion is to expand. And then we have a Samana Vayu, which is at the navel center, and this governs assimilation, discernment, inner absorption, and consolidation. And then Apana Vayu, which is right at the bottom, the pelvis area, and this governs elimination. So it's downward and outward moving. So this is just a little summary, but I'll show you a better chart in a moment about all of these. But yeah, I find it important to go over them over and over again because it's quite complex. Oh, there's a question. Was that a question? Yeah? Rob?
You go back to the other slide, the one before. So because you say, is it prana then going from the head down?
It depends on the Vayu.
I mean on the prana Vayu.
On the prana Vayu? The prana Vayu, it governs, so sorry. Let me double check for you. Well, we'll see that in more detail in 1 second.
Okay, I'll wait.
So I hear you ask, why work with the Vayus? So we work with them for different reasons, for health and vitality of the body and mind, to enhance joy and vitality, for clarity and purpose, so our dharma can be revealed through working with these values and getting everything into balance with ourselves, to access the infinite field of consciousness that lies beyond our physical body and this world. And for me, it's to go beyond the body, beyond the material world, and to connect back into consciousness, because you're working with your energetic body with the Vayus. And the more you're attuned to these subtle changes in your energetic body, the closer you'll get to Purusha, or the divine. So to converse with prana, the more sensitive we are to the energetic body, the closer we are to the divine. That's, yeah, exactly that. So we know briefly what they are, but I'll go into more detail about the details of each one. We know why we're working with them. So now you want to know maybe how to activate the Vayus. So in traditional yoga, through traditional tantric hatha yoga, which is an ancient practice, they work a lot, well, they work with the Vayus. So you won't see this in vinyasa, for example, or power yoga. So through traditional tantric hatha yoga, tan means to lengthen, stretch, or accelerate. Tra is beyond limitation. So tantra is to expand beyond your personal limitations, such as karma or circumstance. And this is Vayus are deeply rooted in the traditional hatha yoga, tantric yoga. It intertwines with other styles, including Kama, Bhakti, Kundalini, Raja, and more. And it takes the whole body and whole person into account. And with these 5 different bodies, the physical, energetic, mental, emotional, wisdom body, and bliss body into account. So you remember the koshas we spoke about? The physical, so that's the more superficial, and then the energetic, then we have the mental and emotional, the wisdom body, and deep down we have our bliss body and the atma, the soul. So with the Vayus, you're working with the energetic body. So in tantric yoga and traditional hatha tantric yoga, we work with different components. So there's asana, mantras, mudras, bandhas, chakras, and pranayama. There are other things such as cleansing techniques, which I haven't mentioned. But these are a few of the components for tantric yoga. Can anyone give me an example of a pranayama?
Like a type of pranayama, you mean?
Yeah, just an example.
Nadi Sodhana, for instance.
Yeah, perfect. Chakra?
Manipura chakra, my favorite.
Manipura chakra, perfect. So that's an energy lock. And a bandha, oh no, sorry, that's an energy center. A bandha is an energy lock. An example of a bandha?
Muladhara.
Bandha.
Yeah.
Muladhara.
A mudra? A seal? Not the animal, not a seal.
Yoni mudra.
Anjali. Anjali or prayer mudra.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. And a mantra? One of your favorite mantras?
Ganesha.
Perfect. Sophie, do you have a favorite mantra?
Hanuman.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
And Shiva Shambho.
Yeah. They're all good. I wish we were doing an hour and a half of kirtan. Anyway. So, and asana, downward dog, yeah, or Adho Mukha.
Shavasana.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So what do some of these components do? So for example, in this hatha system, the asana creates the inner structure, which supports the efficiency of the 5 Vayus. So when you're doing asana, you're able to really work with the Vayus. That's basically what it's saying. Through pranayama, it increases and expands the vital life force of prana and purifies the nadis, not the andis, the nadis. And then there's yoga cleansing techniques, which also purifies the nadis, which is important for our functioning of ourselves, basically. Okay, so that's a little intro. So fact. To maximize the effectiveness of our hatha practice, we need to understand the Vayus in more detail. Yes? Are we ready? Exciting, yes, I love it. Some excited faces on the other side of the screen. It's a party in here. Okay. So first one I'm going to start with is the Apana Vayu. This is the anchoring breath. So generally, this is the one people will start working with. If they're not, they haven't practiced yoga or they're feeling blockages in this area. There isn't generally an order in which you do work with them, but if there was Apana Vayu or Samana would be one or two, okay? So generally we'd start with Apana or Samana. So the Apana Vayu is the anchoring breath, and the location is in the pelvic floor. The force is descending. So here's an answer to your question, Carolina. So this action is descending, yeah? And we want to activate and direct the downward flowing energy. And this is to create confidence, strength, and a grounded sense of purpose. The function of this Vayu is eliminating. And the pranayama that would work with this Vayu is Kapalabhati. And the bandha is Muladhara Bandha. So full disclosure, on the breath situation, I don't know much or anything actually about it. I'm trying to find out from some of my teachers, but it's a very complex discussion, the breath. So I'm not going to tell you I know, because I don't know. All I know is that I know the location, what the force and action is, so it's descending, and the function is to eliminate. Are we okay? Okay. If this Vayu is balanced, then on a subtle level, it'll eliminate physical waste. So excretion, urination, menstruation, and anything which threatens the good health of the body on a mental or emotional level. And it also aids the immune system. So we have a healthy body, and it frees the mind of destructive forces. It gives us a positive outlook on life. But when it's unbalanced, there's a weakened connection between minds and body. We're more vulnerable to illnesses on a physical level and also on a mental level, such as having doubt, confusion, insecurity, and fear. And we have a feeling of loss of purpose. So when we do work with this, we'll be healthier physically and mentally. And it also helps the functioning of the eliminating process. That's why this function is eliminating. Okay? Questions? No? Cool. So that's Apana Vayu. Now Samana Vayu, the breath of balance. So as you can see, Samana is in the stomach, the navel center, and it's halfway between pranavayu, which is in the chest, and apanavayu in the belly. So it's in, in the pelvis. So samana is in the belly, the navel center. Its force is equalizing, and its function is assimilating and digesting. So it has a downward, there is an upward and downward flow of energy that comes to the navel center, and this enhances the prana of transformation, which is the samana vayu. So the function is it collects energy absorbed through the breath, food, sensory perception, and mental experiences, and processes it to empower all aspects of life. It's like a power source. So that's where everything it gets digested, and it gives you power and energy. The bandha here is the Uddiyana bandha, and the pranayama we would use is Surya Bidi, which is I don't know if you know this one. It's a bit like Bastrika, so like exhaling forcefully, but with also the Nadi Shadan alternative nostril aspect as well. So whenever you're changing nostril, you're actually exhaling more forcefully, like in Bastrika. It's, yeah. So that's, so really, yeah. Yes, Cecilia. Love it. Perfect. Okay. So if this value is balanced, on a subtle level, first, the center of this transformative power is the fire element, and it strengthens the body, digestion, and balance at every level. So if you have bad digestion, for example, you would want to work on this on a physical level. It also steadies the primal urges such as sex and hunger. So most of the world should be working on this one. All of the men in the clubs. Gives us clarity and courage to remember who we are. And it gives us motivation and power to break habits and karmic patterns. When it's unbalanced, we repeat those patterns, and we're unable to restrain from urges such as sex or eating a lot. And it also enables us to digest what we consume physically as well as mentally and emotional experiences. So if we find something hard to deal with, then you'd want to work on the samana vayu. After the samana vayu, if we go up, there's we'll do the prana vayu. So the prana vayu is actually in the head and the heart. And it's not to be confused with prana, which is vital life force. So the force is energizing. It has an inward moving vital energy that governs respiration and reception. And it allows us to take in everything from air and food to the impressions and ideas. Its function is to awaken the source of vitality and inspiration. Pranayama, it's a powerful tool for expanding pranavayu, which is Bastrika. Sorry, Bastrika is a powerful tool for expanding prana. And also neti wash is great to help with that. I don't know if you know neti wash. It's a little, what's it called? It looks like, you know, when you water your plants, the watering can, it's actually really a lot smaller, and you put it through one nose with water. I think with salt and warm water, and it cleanses the opposite nostril, and you do that a few times, and it's very cleansing. So it cleanses actually this part of your body, so the head, the nasal passages. So prana vayu, the breath of vitality. So prana vayu is the fundamental energizing force. It has an inward moving vital energy that governs the respiration and reception, as I said. When balanced, it increases sensitivity to our inner awareness and external senses. It also enables us to see and experience life and its beauty, and it anchors us in inner focus and contentment. And when it's unbalanced, we suffer from cravings, fall into bad habits, and have a restless mind. Yeah? I'm just going to go back to the slide before, pranavayu. So pranavayu is, heart, head, and lungs primarily. And then we have the Udana Vayu. The location of this is at the throat, between the heart and the head. It brings prana deep into the brain. Its force and action is ascending, so meaning it goes up. The power of this upward moving energy is to express your truth, expand your awareness, and raise your consciousness. So if you're working with this prana, you want to be able, it'll help you with expression, expanding your awareness, and to raise your consciousness. Its function is growth, inspiration, enthusiasm. And we work on this with the Jala Dara Bandha, works on this value as well. So we want to keep the energy locked in the Jala Dara Bandha. So if you're opening, whenever you do your practice, if you're lifting the chin away from the chest, then that energy, like Beck says, is just coming out of you. So you want to be able to bring the chin to the chest slightly throughout the whole of the practice, rather than tilting the crown of the head back towards your bottom buttocks. Yeah? If this is balanced, then you'll be more spiritually balanced. You'll be able to feel joy and enthusiasm. You'll be strong-willed, articulate, and enlightened. Sounds great, doesn't it? And when it's unbalanced, then you'll have problems with physical nourishment, and you'll have traits such as stubbornness, arrogance, and inflexibility. Yeah? So it's important to know that, like everything, you still have the other ones working too, you know? You can't just have one, just focus on one without the other. Does that make sense? Yeah? Cool. And then finally, we have the Vyana Vayu, the breath of integration. So the location of this is in the entire body. And its force and action is distributing, circulating, expanding. So if I'm not wrong, a good example of this is if you're, for example, in Warrior 3, you have that when you're well aligned and you've been practicing for a while, you have that sense of that the energy is just circulating everywhere in your body. Yeah? Don't know if you have that. You feel light, you feel like this expansiveness. And the function is that it nurtures the expansive aspects of your life force and distributes healing energy throughout the mind and body. And the pranayama for this one is anulama. So this breath of integration, when balanced, it distributes energy throughout the body. It enlivens the physiological functions of the circulatory system and lymph system and the nervous system. It removes obstacles to the circulation of nutrition, energy, and information throughout the mind and body. When unbalanced, life will not be flowing. There'll be obstacles or stagnations will appear. And yeah, you'll really feel them rather than flowing through life. I'm sure we've all experienced that before. and the body and mind will be disconnected, weakened, and it's apparent through disconnected efforts, physically, like physical illness or anxiety. That's how you know that it's unbalanced. So those are the Vijnana Vayus. So what did I just name? What were they called? The 5, what's the Sanskrit word for winds? Yes, Vayu. I saw Cecilia say it. Vayu. Yeah, so the 5 Vayus. So there's Apana, so descending, going down. Samana, which is equalizing. Then Prana, which is inward moving. Udana, ascending, going up. And Vijnana, diffusing, so it's going everywhere. And they all have different locations. They all have different functions. And they all have blockages. So if it's blocked, then different things will happen. Yeah, so example, the Apana, which is in the pelvis area, you may have menstrual problems, sexual dysfunction, constipation, hemorrhoids. For the Samana, you'd have digestive problems, so that's in the navel. The Prana, you'd have heart and lung conditions, digestive, lethargy. For the Udana, you'd have cognition and communication problems. And Vijnana, you'd have poor peripheral circulation and numbness. So those are the type of blockages you'd find. And if balanced, like we said before, then there's just more harmony in your life, in your body, in your physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual bodies. Yeah? Okay. So now that I have described them all, I thought perhaps it would be great to know how to activate the Vayus with asana. Ooh, exciting. So now I'm going to start my second half of my presentation. This is another 40 minutes presentation on how to activate your Vayus with different asana. So with asana, we can activate these Vayus in our practice with Hatha Yoga, I would say, because you need to hold these poses, and once you're out of them, you feel the rebound. Well, in the rebound poses, you feel this energy moving throughout the body. So that's why the rebound poses, those poses to rest and just to close your eyes and feel, those are so important. Great. Up. So the Vayus and asana category. Below are the Vayus generated via asana. The intention and attention must be present to generate pranic impact. So apana, primarily forward folds and to a lesser extent twists will help activate these Vayus. Can someone give me an example of forward folds that may activate this Vayu in the pelvic area, lower belly? What type of forward folds? Wait, you need to unmute yourself. I can.
I did. It didn't. Uttanasana or Baddha Konasana, like
Yeah,
or standing.
Exactly. Yeah, and twists, for example.
Ardha Matsyendrasana.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Or
Marichyasana.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
Exactly.
Revolve triangle.
Yeah. 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 Revolve triangle. Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. And for samana, so samana, this is in the navel area. Twists are primarily used to activate this Vayu. And what types of twists are there that we could really use for activating this one?
Is that Pabrita?
Yeah, any of those twists. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yep. And to a lesser extent, forward folds as well, because you're still activating that area. So it's important to know that there is more than one asana which works for the Vayu, right? So for example, Uttanasana can be used for the Apana Vayu, Uttanasana can be used to activate the Samana Vayu, and it also can, yeah, so etc., etc. It's important what your intention is during the practice and attention. So depending on where your intention and attention is, that's the Vayu that you will be activating primarily. So there's not one pose that activates one specific Vayu and that's it. Does that make sense?
Do you mean attention of the teacher or the student?
The student.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, first the teacher, I guess, because they have to teach.
Yeah.
But then, yeah. But then the student. Like if you're practicing alone, then if you're doing a forward fold, you could be working on your apana or the samana, depending on what your intention of the practice is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean just bringing the attention to that area?
Yes, and also the breath, which we don't know about yet, and also which one you're wanting to activate, which one you're working with in the practice. So generally at the beginning of the practice, for example, you'd be like, well, today I'm going to work with the Vienna Vayu. But there might be two Vayus working, but just, yeah, you always have to keep that as an intention throughout the practice. Because if there's no intention, then you're not active, then you're not working it, you know? You're not activating it.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. And then there's the Udana, which inversions primarily work on this, and backbends, extensions, laterals, and twists to a lesser extent. Then we have the Prana Vayu. Backbends primarily work with this Vayu, and laterals to a lesser extent. And then we have the Viyana Vayu. Laterals primarily, and backbends, inversions, extensions to a lesser extent. Okay. Apana Vayu. So to call upon Apana Vayu in the pelvis, we have to, it's the same, well, not the same. The engagement of Apana is the intention behind Mula Bandha, the root lock, which enlivens the asana. So the following asanas show how Apana can be activated by focusing on this pelvic alignment. So the standing poses, for example, use activations in the legs to energetically combine the pelvis with the torso, and it grounds us deeper and brings us back to the shape of the pose. And the sitting poses for this Vayu will naturally ground and stabilize us into the Apana Vayu, and it gives us the opportunity to explore this Vayu with forward folds and back bends and twists. So we need to breathe evenly, fully, and relaxed during these asanas and consciously engage these areas. So one example of this, a pose that could be used for Apana, is Prasalita Padottanasana. So the pelvis is inverted here, and we're drawing attention to the lower belly and pelvic floor. So this is one pose that we could do to activate this Apana Vayu. You have the option to get up and do these if you would like, but you will look really comfortable, so I won't force you. You're okay? You're okay? Just sit in there, like you don't need to get up? Oh. You're okay? I didn't see you. Yeah? Okay, okay. Okay, another one to activate Apana is Uttanasana, like Caro said. Yeah, so bringing the intention down there. I'm not sure what the breath is doing, but I imagine you're inhaling and then exhaling into that area. Then also tree pose. Here, this is because the legs and the sacrum work together to stabilize this pose, and it awakens and redirects the Apana. This photo was taken in Goa in 2017 during my first yoga teacher training. The good times where we could travel. And also Paschimottanasana. So here are the inner thighs. The lower back and pelvic floor are intimately related and governed by the apana. So this is another good one to work with, the apana. And Shalabhasana. If you can imagine Sophie doing a Shalabhasana here. So Shalabhasana, with a strong energetic and muscular engagement in the pelvis, Shalabhasana is a powerfully activates apana and strengthens the whole backside of the pelvis, legs, and lumbar spine. Okay, so those are a few examples of how you could work with the apana. So you'd be inhaling. Remember, it's inhaling and it's eliminating. So we're trying to eliminate. Question? Yeah. Rob?
I just have a question, like, because you're saying like digestion.
Yeah.
So let's say someone has bad digestion, you will also maybe is going to have bad excretion or elimination.
Yeah.
So how do you know which one to work first? Will you work digestion because logically it makes more sense, or energetically it's not the same?
Good question. I would work with, well, what's the root of his problem? Is it digestion, or is it to do with their?
I don't know, because it's not me, just imaginary person.
Yeah. I would. Well, it depends on what the cause is, doesn't it? Because it could be because of what they're eating, or it could be more. Well, generally, I'd probably work with the samana, the digestion one, and the apana. I'd work with both.
Yeah, well, they do with the same positions, forward, fold, and twist.
Yeah, so you just redirect your intention. You would probably half it.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Good
more
question.
fibers.
Pardon?
More fibers too.
Yeah. You tell them to change their diet. And then we have the Samana Vayu. So remember, this Samana Vayu is located at the navel center. And its function is to assimilate, digest, metabolize. So here we would primarily work on twists. For example, Pavrita Parsvukkanasana. Yeah. And also a good one for Samana is actually Utkatasana, because you really feel the engagement in the core here. When we do Utkatasana and you breathe into the belly center, you can really feel that part activates, and that's really great one to activate the Samana. So redirecting the flow of the apana and prana vayu towards the navel center. So you have this downward action and an upward action, and it meets in the belly. So that's what you're really working with, and this works with the Samana Vayu. Then also reclining abdominal twist, so Jatara Parivartanasana. So this is just twisting. So we are working with the navel center as well, which is great for digestion,